Hello, my name is Gillian Getlan, and today I will be describing a lesson for the comprehension strategy of questioning. This lesson is designed for a second grade class. Given modeling through a teacher think aloud within an interactive read aloud, students will be able to form questions when learning new information at least one time independently while reading an informational picture book. I will model on a chart for the class while the students fill out their own personal charts. This book is titled A Day in the Life of a Zookeeper. This book describes a zookeeper's job, including what they feed the animals, the tools they use, and how they help the community. This book features sections with headers phrased as questions, such as what do zookeepers feed the animals? Images of a real zookeeper that support the text information, clocks on each two-page spread to show the time of day, and fun fact boxes on the sides of many pages. Here is the explicit description provided to the students as part of the introduction to the lesson. When we learn, we become curious. Questioning is a strategy we use whenever we read to understand more. When we are learning new information, that makes us question what we know and don't know and look for more answers. It's important to note and think about your questions when reading to help you understand more deeply and support research. Today, we will practice this strategy together. As we read, think about the new information you're learning and see what questions come to mind. After reading the first two-page spread, here's my first think aloud. Wow, that's really interesting. I never thought about a zookeeper's schedule before. I didn't know that they worked on weekends and holidays. That sounds really tiring. With that new information, I wonder, do zookeepers like working almost every day? I know I wouldn't. I love my weekends. That's my first question, so I'm going to write it in our chart. Then I will speak aloud as I write on the chart. I learned that zookeepers often work on weekends and holidays. I wonder, do zookeepers like working almost every day? After reading the next two-page spread, here's my second think aloud. Aw, that's so sad. I just learned that sometimes abandoned animals need to be hand-fed. Besides young mole rats, I wonder, what are other animals zookeepers hand feed? I'll put that on my chart. Again, then I will speak aloud as I write on the chart. I learned zookeepers hand feed abandoned animals like young mole rats. I wonder, what are other animals zookeepers hand feed? These think alouds will provide the students with tangible examples of the questioning strategy. These think alouds will support their use for the entire lesson. After modeling with the think alouds, the next several pages will be completed collaboratively. After reading the next two-page spread, I will retell the new information learned. Then all the students will fill in the first I learned box on their personal charts at the same time I fill in mine. I will then ask them, what kinds of questions come to mind after learning this new information? Then the students will turn and talk about their own wonderings about the new information. After the turn and talk, I will prompt them to write their own questions in the first I wonder box on their charts. After they write, I will write my own question on the modeling chart. Then we will do the same thing again for the next two-page spread. This will support them by focusing their wonderings on the new information learned, rather than wondering about unrelated information. I will listen to their discussions and briefly check their charts to see their progress with forming questions. Students will receive guidance and support from me, as well as from their partners, as they practice this strategy. After working collaboratively, students will start to practice this strategy with guidance from me. During this guided practice, after reading the next two-page spread, students will turn and talk about what they learned and what they wonder. After discussing, they will fill in their chart. While they discuss and write, I will walk around, listening to conversations and reading their charts. I will point out to students when they are on target in their discussions and charts, and help to guide them toward success when they are not on target. This will repeat for the following two-page spread. This guided practice will provide the opportunity for students to complete the charts on their own, but be able to bounce their thinking off of their partner. In collaborative use, I supplied the information as to focus their question formation. Now, in guided practice, they must identify the new information as well as form questions. This moves the responsibility of strategy use from me, the teacher, to the students. This provides them with the chance to try the strategy on their own, but with support from me and their classmates. After guided practice, students will use the strategy independently. After I read the next two-page spread, the students will think and write independently rather than with a partner. I will prompt them by saying, think to yourself, what did you just learn and what do you wonder? Then write down your thoughts. They will repeat this for the following and final two-page spread. Here, the students are using the strategy independently as they are not receiving any support from me or their classmates. Before, they were able to bounce their ideas off their partner and receive feedback from me. Now, they must use the strategy independently. They have to identify the new information that they themselves learned, as opposed to information I focus them on or the ideas of their partner, and they must form their own relevant wonderings. This independent use prepares them to use this strategy outside the context of this lesson, such as while they are conducting research or doing other class readings. This chart is the personal chart all the students will be filling out during the lesson. The first 4 rows are for the collaborative use and guided practice parts of the lesson. The final 2 rows will be completed during the independent use part of the lesson and will serve as the summative assessment for the lesson. The objective of the lesson was for the students to be able to form questions when learning new information at least one time independently. Looking at these 2 rows, I will be able to see if they were able to form questions and if those questions were based on new information from the text, as opposed to unrelated information they made up. Their questions will inform me if they are able to use this strategy independently or if they need further guided practice to successfully utilize the strategy. I will be looking to see if they were able to use the strategy once or twice or not at all. If they were able to once, they achieved the objective. If they were able to twice, it shows me they are even more prepared to use this strategy on their own. If they were unable to at all, then that means they need more guided practice.